Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Prep Talk live show. I'm your host. My name is Kissa. I'm an entrepreneur in the food industry, and I am based here in Los Angeles. I do these live shows to help you prep for the week, to talk about the food industry, what's going on in my business, how it can hopefully help you, and some tips and, lessons I've learned along the way that can hopefully help you grow your business, especially if you're currently doing pop ups or you're in the pop up industry. I'm trying to grow your business. If you have a side hustle and you're doing pop ups to grow your business, I'm your girl. So, hello, welcome. If you are watching this replay, I'm going to have chapter markers down in the description below so you can jump from topic to topic. That way you can find exactly what you're looking for in this specific video. So let's jump into it. Normally what I do is I talk about the previous week. We talk about lessons learned, just things that are going to affect this upcoming week from the previous week. And then we'll kind of do a walkthrough of what's going on this week. And then from there, I'll share some kind of tip that will hopefully help you grow your business. So let's talk about last week. Last week was kind of smooth sailing, I would say. Last week was probably one of the smoothest weeks we've had in quite a while, especially since we got back from vacation. If you guys don't know, the first half of August, my family took a almost 2-week long vacation, which we have not done in, 5 years or 4 years, something like that. And so it was much needed. We went to Hawaii. We were there for 12 days and it was amazing. And I was recharged and ready to come back. And crazy enough, there was just so much to take care of when we got back, which was a blessing, because when you're first, talking about starting your own business, I think the most common question is, how are you going to consistently make money? And so it was great because we had projects lined up, we had orders lined up for when we were coming back. And so the last half of August was a mad dash to try and just get back on track. And it takes a little while, to transition from vacation mode back to regular life. And so it took a little while. And I want to say that last week was probably the week where we felt like things were somewhat smooth sailing. And we were investing in things to help us with our business. We're talking about growth and how we're going to grow our business, and what kind of tools or equipment we need to grow, and where we were going to find those things. So it was one of those, it was still, a busy week, but it wasn't hectic or stressful compared to the last couple weeks. So it was really nice. So like I said, we were working on just trying to figure out how to grow our business, because we're getting busier and we have clientele that is in the wholesale market for our products, and they are ordering larger amounts, which makes us have the need to utilize equipment and tools to help us with our output, right? So up until last week, we were doing everything by hand to a certain extent. And so in the last couple weeks, we were focusing on trying to order equipment to help us bag our pancake mix faster, help us bottle quicker, that type of thing. And so this week is going to be focused on, learning how to use that equipment, because like I said, we've been bottling everything by hand. We've been bagging all our mixes by hand. And so it's a great feeling to know that we need equipment to support us. But there's also a learning curve, right? Like, we're not used to having machinery that is going to help us output more units. We also have to figure out how to get it to the correct specifications so that that it's still outputting the correct weight, the net weight for each product, things like that. And so it's been, ever since we got back from vacation, it's been a transition time for sure. Growing pains is probably the theme of the last few weeks. And I want to say, and I mentioned this in my group coaching, and we're kind of focusing on this for the month of September, is the idea of change, and how, for a lot of us, change can sometimes signify something scary, or we have a negative or apprehensive connotation toward change. And I'm one of them also that tends to be a little bit afraid of change, but change is a good thing, and I need to remind myself that. And so that's kind of what we're discussing in our group coaching in my group coaching community this month, of how can I embrace change, and how can I adapt and utilize my skills to adapt to create momentum in this change. And it's a hard question to ask, to tell you the truth, but it helps me to look at this upcoming week with a fresher perspective, with a perspective of just readiness to tackle what's on my plate, instead of dreading the change or feeling nervous about it or anxious about it. The more positive mentality toward change is helping me look forward to my week versus feeling stressed about, oh, here we go, another week, another big tons of orders. How are we going to fulfill it? This is so stressful. What did I get myself into? And you start to spiral into those negative thoughts. But if I look at it as, this is a great opportunity, we're able to invest into equipment to help us. And yeah, we have to kind of change up our system because we have to learn a new system. It's going to be worth it in the long run, right? And so that those two statements back to back are just very different, and the mentality that goes with those statements are very opposite. They're polar opposites. And so I'm excited for this week. So let's talk about this week, right? This week, there's a lot of changes happening for me in multiple aspects. Let's talk about the food business first. So Ninong's, like I mentioned, has invested in some equipment to help with our output, and so that we can fulfill more units and increase our sales, right? And so this week is going to be about learning how to use that equipment, and just kind of tweaking the settings so that we can get it to work for our workflow. So that's number one. Number two is we have the wholesale arm of our business is getting much busier. We're getting new inquiries about wholesale and about about wanting to carry our products, which is great. So that is a wonderful, wonderful thing. I definitely have to stay on top of reaching out to the people, or replying back to the people that have reached out. So that's going to be my focus, one of my focuses for this week. And then another thing that's happening within the food business is with Ninong's is we're dialing back on our pop-ups. And in the past, our pop-ups were solely for, making money. That's how most people look at making money. And in a previous episode, I can't remember which one, I was talking about looking at pop-ups with a different perspective of not just a way to make sales and make money, but also as a marketing opportunity, right? Almost like a trade show. Because when you go to a trade show, when you attend a trade show, your goal is to, yes, gain some clients, of course, but also it's to market your business, right? And you don't necessarily expect in the first pop-up, or I'm sorry, in the first trade show, that you're going to make a profit off of the trade show. Sometimes you need to make an appearance a few times at these trade shows to gain some brand recognition, to see that you are a business that is here for the long haul and you're investing your 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 money into wanting to expand your business. So with trade shows, it's not like you get this immediate flow of funds, right? It takes a little bit of time. And I challenge people to think that pop-ups are exactly the same way. In their own way, they're a trade show, but for retail customers. And so a lot of people get discouraged when a pop-up doesn't, it doesn't transpire the way that they think it's going to. I apologize. I'm getting a text and I'm looking at Micah in my monitor. But, people tend to get discouraged when a pop-up, they don't make as much money or sell as much product as they think they were going to sell. They get discouraged and they're like, well, what's the point? I'm just wasting my money, or it's not worth my time, or whatever it is. And I beg to differ. I like to think of pop-ups as a wonderful opportunity, whether or not you make money. Even if you don't get any sales, which I really doubt, you're bound to at least get one, right? But even if you were to make no sales, I like to think of pop-ups as an opportunity to just get the word out there that your business has a presence, and you want to put your best foot forward at every pop-up, and you want to network with the other vendors, and you want to introduce yourself and tell people your story of why you started your business, regardless if you make a sale or not. These are touch points where you can interact with potential customers and future colleagues to tell them about who you are. And it's marketing, right? It's marketing dollars with a chance to make some of your investment back, right? So if you're going to spend $100 on a pop-up and say you made 0 sales, but you said, okay, this is my moment. I'm going to spend 100 of my marketing dollars to tell people about who I am, why I started this business, and what makes what I'm selling great and different from what other people are selling, right? This is your moment to do that. I can tell you that $100 is well spent, even if you don't make any of it back, because you're capitalizing on the opportunity to tell people about your business. And that's the whole point of trade shows, of pop-ups. And so when you think about it, $100 for a pop-up, and say you get to interact and have really good conversations with 10 people, that's going to make a difference. You're going to see sales down the road. And compared to spending thousands of dollars at a trade show, you're spending minimal amounts of money at a pop-up. So think of it as a marketing event as well as a chance to sell product, right? It's both things. And once you realize, oh, it's a little bit slow, then change the hat that you're wearing. Instead of the sales hat of like, okay, I need to sell a certain amount of product. We have this X amount for sales goals. Our goal is to sell out, or whatever it is. Your goal changes. And your new goal is to try and meet as many people as you can. And try and connect make a genuine connection with as many people as you can. And I'm not saying like salesy, like find your people. Find people that you can be yourself with and you can tell your story to without feeling any bit of apprehension or nervousness, because you can tell that they are all about what you're saying. Oh man, if you find those people, I can guarantee you, not only will you make a sale, you'll probably have a repeat customer, and you're going to have someone that's going to tell other people about what you have versus trying to hard sell every single person that walks by your booth, right? So that's just my 2 cents on pop-ups. That being said, we are continuing to do pop-ups because of that reason, for marketing purposes, more so than sales purposes. And we're doing 2 in our local area for the month of September. We might keep it the same for the month of October and November, and then we'll see for the holidays, because holiday time there are a lot of shows and a lot of pop-ups and events that happen because it's gift giving season, right? So there's a lot of events to be had. So we'll see in December, but for us, we're scaling back on pop-ups for now. And we're going to focus on brand growth at those pop-ups versus sales. So that's our goal for our pop-ups in the next few months. That being said, it's because we are very busy with wholesale, and I'm so thankful for that. And so it's important on our end to make sure that our brand is recognizable. And if you have the hope to enter into a wholesale market, that is one thing that I highly suggest, is establishing yourself as a brand so that your stores that you're providing your product to, they have your customers walking in looking for your products. If you're a lesser known brand, it's still possible to be successful in the wholesale market, but if you have brand recognition, it's so much easier. It's a lot easier. And so that's why we're still going to continue to do the pop-ups instead of not do them at all, because we want to make sure that we foster the spirit of our brand, and we make sure that people still see us out there, that people don't forget who we are, because it makes a difference when it comes to selling products for our wholesale partners. So that's our plan kind of, and our goal for this week. And then of course our goal is to fulfill those wholesale orders that we have every single week. So that is the goal for that business. Next thing is for my coaching business and just for content creation in general. As I feel like as I'm doing this live show, I'm learning a lot about just growing my personal brand and navigating through who I am and who I want to, and what part of my life I want to put out there. And for me, of course, it's a mix between personal and professional, because my business is a family run business. My aunt, my uncle, my husband and I were owners of the business. My dad works for us, and we're a family run business. And so personal and professional life really get intertwined, and people always ask me, how do you do it? Isn't that really hard? And yeah, it is hard, but it's also very easy when you set those parameters in place where it's people, everyone that's working with you understands that there's this sort of understanding when work is work and when personal is personal. And so we've been very fortunate to be able to have a good working relationship with family, and so it hasn't really been that hard. Of course it has its challenges, but it hasn't really been that hard. And I think that's because we all have that understanding that we have to keep business and personal a little bit separate. But that being said, as a person that is trying to grow a personal brand around my career, uh, since I run a family-based business, part of my personal life has to just kind of be involved in that process. And so I've learned a lot doing this live show for the past few months. And I've realized that I really do have this calling. Like, I really am passionate about helping other people create their food business and do it right and find success. Because there's so many people out there that I've met in the last year or two that realize that they're burnt out at their regular job, and if they could have it their way, they would be running their food business full time. And I want to help those people. I want to help those people get to that point where they feel like they can do it. And so that's my goal. I'm still going to be continuing to do these live shows, but I'm going to create more content on YouTube. So stay tuned for that. It's going to specifically be for people that want to start doing pop-ups, or maybe it's going to be your first ever pop-up and you need some advice or some tools to try and make it as successful as possible. Or maybe you already had a few pop-ups under your belt, maybe one or two, and you're like, I want to up level. I want to take my pop-up game to the next level. What can I do? So those are the people that I really want to start to help, because those are the people that are DMing me on my Instagram account and really wants to know how they can make their pop-up a little bit better or a little more successful. And so I'm really excited about that, because I finally feel like I'm on that road, and it's not a fast path to success. It's taken me a long time. I've had my YouTube channel for, I want to say, like 3 years or 4 years, maybe even longer. And I'm still just navigating through it. And then now with a 1.5-year-old and not having as much time as I used to pre-baby, I find it really hard, right, to find time, because you're trying to balance your personal life and your professional life, and there's so many things on the list. But I'm doing it at my own pace, and I think that is something that's so important that I've realized. I've seen other people and I've watched others just find so much success in the span of 2 years or 3 years, and I look at them and I'm like, how come I can't have that? And it's because, truthfully, it's because I wasn't ready. I was still navigating through, and I was still figuring myself out, and I finally feel like I'm getting there, slowly but surely. It's not going to be a quick road, and I'm no longer disappointed about that. I'm really excited for this journey of like helping others with their businesses and helping people level up their pop-ups, and just really helping people figure out their version of success, because I've really had to figure that out myself too. So some changes are going to be going on with the live show. I'm going to be starting to do booth critiques for people with pop-ups. So if you have any booth photos or video and you need some feedback on your booth, send them to me. I'm going to put all my contact info in the description below, so that you can send me your photos, your videos, and kind of what you want to do, or what do you feel like your pain point is. Like, are you trying to increase your sales? Are you just trying to make it look a little more professional or presentable? What are your goals with your booth or your pop-up? And we can kind of go from there. So if you would like some feedback from me on your booth presentation, or just your plan going into pop-ups in general, I'm going to be starting that on this live show starting in the next week or two. And the first booth that I'm going to critique is my own, because I've been doing pop-ups for years. I've been doing pop-ups for, I want to say, almost 10 years. Yeah, almost 10 years. And I am a believer that I can't stay stagnant. I've got to change it up not every single time, but I've got to make it better. There's always something to make better. And I'm a firm believer of that. So you'll see the progression of my booth over time. I think I did that in the last live show, so I'll link that down below as well. But I'm going to critique my own booth at our most recent pop-ups, and we'll go from there, right? We'll start with me, because I am also a believer that I can't just critique other people's stuff without critiquing my own. So I want to start with my own booth, and then if you would like yours critiqued or you want some feedback, send it over. I am more than happy to do those on this live show. Some other changes that's going to be happening: there's going to be some regular recorded content back on the channel, so stay tuned for that. My goal is to have one video a week up, ready to go. The first one is actually going to be a pop-up checklist. So I'm going to be sharing a beautified version of my own pop-up checklist, and it'll have space for people to kind of customize it as they see fit, so that they can create sort of a template for themselves as well. But I'm going to be sharing that in the first video, so stay tuned. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, there's going to be some significant changes here, and I'm super excited for it, so stay tuned for that. And then the last thing is just on the personal side. A lot of things are happening personally. There's just a lot of self-realization that I'm experiencing right now. There's a lot of independence that I'm starting to feel, and empowerment. And I am working on self-love, which is one of my goals for this year, and it's starting to really show. I know it's 9 months in to this year, and I'm only starting to feel the rewards of putting in time for self-love. But I wanted to share that because it's once again a testament of I'm just a late bloomer, and sometimes there are goals, especially something as lofty as self-love. It's just one of those things where it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen in a month. It's going to take time, because it's a mindset thing, and having to beat the nasty voices in my own head is a process. I'm not going to be able to just tune them out starting today if my goal was to start loving myself more yesterday. And so it took 9 months, but it's finally starting to get better, and I'm finally starting to invest in myself and realize that I'm worth it. And that feels really good, and I'm really proud to be able to say that. It's not like that every day. There are some days where I'm like, I feel like crap, and I don't feel empowered, or I don't feel like I can take on whatever's on my plate. But it's more often than not that I feel like I am equipped, I am knowledgeable, I am worthy, and I'm qualified. So I just wanted to point that out there. So if you're experiencing that, have patience with yourself. It's going to be a roller coaster. I'm trying to remind myself that too. It's a roller coaster when you're working on something as big as self-love, and it's just part of the journey. It's just part of the ride. So some other things I have that's on the docket for this week is to get my house in order. My best friend just moved out, and she moved to Colorado. I miss her dearly. It's only been a few days, but I miss her so much. And so I'm going to be focusing on working on converting her room to our office. So this is all going to move into a bedroom, which is nice. And then I have so much mess here and like throughout the house. It's just because of the pop-ups, it has been like a tornado of pop-up stuff. And so now that things have kind of settled down, I've kind of recovered a little bit. I'm going to start cleaning up the house so that I just feel like it's livable once again and it's not atrociously embarrassing. So that's all I really have going on this week. I didn't do this last week, but I wanted to share with you my affirmation that I had for last week. So it's this one: I make confident and profitable decisions that lead to fulfillment of my needs and ambitions. That was a really good one. I didn't really sit at my desk very much last week, but with me moving everything and it's starting to be a transition, I want to say my goal is to have our office slash guest room all set up in the next 3 weeks. So, you know, this is all going to move, which is nice. This is going to turn into Micah's play area. So we're going to put down like his play mat. We're going to put an activity table that's his height with some kids' chairs so that if his cousin or his friends come over, like they have a place to play. And so I'm really excited for that. It's going to be really fun. And so I really loved this because it helped me to remember that the decisions I make, the things that I want to do, they're not silly. They're needed. And so if I make a decision and I've thought it through, I should be confident about it because I know it's going to work toward the greater good. All right, so let's see what is going to be the affirmation for this week. I'm going to put that into my planner. Let's see. It says, my faith is bolder and longer than, let's see. My faith is bolder and, I don't know what that says. Launder than my fear. Well, we'll just say my faith is bolder than my fear. So that is a great one, especially in a time that is so unknown. That is such a great affirmation for this week. Like I said, my best friend moved out, and so there's a lot of unknowns when it comes to just our finances and how that's going to affect it, and just the dynamic of not having another person in the house. It's scary. Change is scary, right? Like I said. And so talking about change, faith being bolder than fear is an important aspect to have. So let me share this week's agenda. For September 6th through 12th, this week's affirmation, let's put it here. My faith is bolder than my fear. 3 projects. Prepping office for move. That is going to be 1. Cleaning up the house and responding to inquiries in inbox. Okay, so those are going to be the 3 projects for this week. I have a few things that I need to buy. I need to buy shampoo and conditioner. I need to buy dishwasher pods. I need to buy we'll see. I need to buy a sofa bed. It doesn't have to necessarily be this week, but I'm just going to list it down there so I know it's out of my brain. What else? There was something else that I know I needed. Half and half. There we go. That's what it was. Okay. So that is that. Moving down my weekly agenda. If this is your first time seeing my weekly agenda, this is basically a template that I've created. It's what I open every single day, and I have a new agenda that I create every single week. So this week is September 6th through 12th. Next week is going to be September 13th through the 19th. that type of thing. So I live my life week by week, just naturally. And so I've created systems within Notion to help me with that. So you can see this is my task list for, sorry, that was a little bit fast, but this is my task list for the week. That's how I like to see my tasks. And then this is my daily journal section. So I break down my week into days. And so let's create Monday, September 6th, 21. And then I have a template that I've created for my daily journal as well. That way everything just populates on its own. And then this kind of shows me everything in a daily nutshell. So this is mainly for reflection and just to help me stay focused. If I'm overwhelmed by my week, this helps me stay a little bit focused, and to just kind of hone in on one day at a time. Because something that I've learned is small incremental changes that you make on a daily basis have a huge effect on the long term, whether it's months or years or whatever it is. So I try to sometimes focus on the daily because life just gets really overwhelming. And if you are able to break it down a little bit more, then it makes it a little bit easier. Okay, so let's go into September 6th through 12th. That's just to help me reference my weekly agenda if I need to. And then this is my morning routine. I try to reflect and figure out what I want to focus on for the day, any big tasks that I really want to prioritize. And then this is my nighttime routine and reflection. So I try to do my best. I don't hit the mark every single day, but I try to do my best to do and just walk through this daily journal every single day. Like I said, I don't hit the mark every time, but I try my best. All right, back to my weekly agenda for this week. So this is what I have on my task list for this week. As you can see, Monday is crazy. I have tons of stuff that I have to get done today. And whatever doesn't get done just moves on to the next day. That's just reality, right? As a mom, I have to just figure things out and find time when Micah's asleep or is preoccupied with something else. And as he gets older, it's been getting easier, but it's always a thing. And then I also have a weekly reflection that I also don't always hit the mark on, but I really try to work on this. Whenever something good happens, I try to put it here. Whenever there's tough times, I try to put it here. And I just like to reflect on things. Reflection is a big part of my my progress when it comes to self-love and working on it. And so it's so hard to create into a habit, but once you do and you see the benefits of it, it just makes you want to do it more. So this is just a template that I've created for myself and have found to be really effective. Like I said, once again, I don't hit the mark every time, but I really try my best to make time and work on this. So that is pretty much it. But if I really hope that you guys have a wonderful, wonderful week. It's been so busy and I always try and figure out, like, do I want to keep doing the live show? Is it something that I want to make a priority? And I got to tell you, every time I even think about it or even think about stopping, I just feel like I can't. So this is just one of those things for me that helps me to set my week up for just a good one, and even if no one watches, honestly, even if no one watches, it's all good, because it's just for me personally to be able to document this process and kind of look back, because I'm able to share what's going on in my life at this moment. And I was watching a few of the old episodes when I first started, and like, this is not a fancy show. This is by no means a, as, sorry, there's a call coming in. This is by no means like a professionally produced show. It's just me with my mess and in my house, just sharing life with you guys. And even then, it's just one of those things that I'm just so grateful that I get to do, because it's growth for me, and it really helps me. And I hope even if it helps just one person, then it'll all have been worth it. So thank you guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. If you want to connect, or if you have any questions about anything, whether it be about pop-ups or your food business or productivity, being an entrepreneur, anything like that, please feel free to leave a comment below or to DM me on Instagram. It's the best way to contact me. You can follow me on Instagram at justkissa, and have a great, wonderful week. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.